If we're talking about a perfect world, and my criteria is 100% set, meaning I'm clear about my criteria, then if my dog, I'm working on healing or whatever it is, and I know the picture I want, I get it, it shouldn't matter where I produce the reward when I release my dog, if my criteria is 100% consistent. But of course, none of us are perfect, and nobody has 100% consistent criteria. So in healing, for instance, if my dog's healing and they're healing exactly the way I want, and I say yes, and I release the dog and I produce the reward with my right hand over here. The dog comes across my body, grabs the reward out of my right hand. If I do that 10 times in a row, on the 11th time, the dog says, the last 10 times, the reward was over there. So the dog moves itself just a tiny bit closer to where it thinks the reward's going to come. 1/16 of an inch. Little tiny bit. And of course, I don't even notice it. I just keep going. Your dog lowers its head a 1/16 of an inch or moves a 1/16 of an inch closer to you. You don't see that. So you reward it. And then next time it's a little bit closer. And over the next 100 repetitions, suddenly your dog's head's here and he's healing crooked across your body. So because we know we're not going to be perfect in our criteria, we reward the dog in a way that reinforces the behavior we want. So when healing, I produce the rewards over here, above the dog's head on my left side. So now, if I'm a little lax in my criteria, where the reward's being produced makes the dog move himself back here and look up more. He thinks it's going to be up there. So he keeps himself in position better, and I don't have to watch for those little subtle erosions in my healing criteria. So for any of the behaviors that are what I call gray behaviors, so fronts, finishes, healing, these are what I call gray behaviors. Sit, down, these are black and white behaviors. Sit, your butt's on the ground or your butt's not on the ground. Black and white. You're either in a sit or you're not in a sit. The dogs get it, no problem. Fronts, like come sit in front of me. If the dog's sitting in front of me looking up at my face and their butt's 1 inch that way or 2 inches that way, do you think it feels radically different to the dog? Nah. Feels the same to them. You have to make them really aware. No, I want your butt over 2 inches that way. And it takes a lot of repetitions for them to realize exactly when they're right and when they're wrong, because it basically feels the same to them. It's the same thing in healing. If my dog's healing along next to me and they're good here, if they're 1 inch forward, is that still good? Looks pretty good. 2 inches? Still pretty good. 3 inches? Maybe not. 4 inches? No, definitely too far, right? How do they know the difference between 2 and 4 inches? Does it feel different to them? Not so much, right? So, for those gray behaviors, healing, fronts, finishes, we reward the dog in a way that strengthens the behavior I'm looking for. So on fronts, I always reward my dog on the center line of my body. Either up here, spit food, between my legs, but the reward always gets materialized on the center line of my body. If I reward out to the side, and I'm random about rewarding, what happens is the dog tries to guess which way it's going to be. So he comes and sits front, and he leans a tiny, tiny bit to the right, because he thinks I'm going to bring it out with my right hand. And because it's a tiny, tiny bit, I don't see it, I reward it, and over the next 100 repetitions, suddenly my dog's sitting crooked, leaning out to the right, going, hey, I know you're going to bring it out over there. But it doesn't happen in one session. So for those things, make sure you're reinforcing the dog in a position that helps you, not hinders you.
Our Leerburg website has close to 300 free streaming videos. If you're new to our newsletter, you may want to visit the library of these videos. We also have a large selection of dog training DVDs.